Welcome to Inside City Hall. I'm your host, Mayor Daryl Seymore, and today on our show we have Trisha Spear. Trish, great to have you today.
Thank you for having me.
So, you know, we got water in the lakes, and
Finally, yes.
everything's there. We can build fires, all the good things that are happening. We're really fortunate to have the fire restrictions lifted and things.
One of my favorite times of the year right now is the monsoons. It's beautiful, everything's clean, and getting that water that we desperately needed.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit, introduce yourself as to what you do, what businesses you're gonna, and we're gonna talk about Show Low Lake today as well as Full Hollow.
Yes. So I'm actually in two different businesses, but it all kind of revolves around the outdoor recreation, which I've been in since I was a kid. Family business. We've been in it now for 26 years.
Yeah.
So we run campgrounds for the U.S. Forest Service and for the city of Show Low. We run Show Low Lake over there, and my husband and I run a business over at Fool's Hollow Lake, which is we're a concessionaire for the Arizona State Parks, and we run the boat concessions over there.
Great. So Show Low Lake has done quite a bit. We have a really good launch ramp there. We have the docks and things, but people may not be as familiar with the campground. And I know it's a campground that's evolving. We're trying to make improvements and change, but there's also a lot of people that have been using that campground. It's really full most of the time.
It is. We get a lot of different types of people all through the summer in there, and we have 76 sites, I believe it is what it is, and then a few of those are electric sites, and there is new improvements going in there every day as well. So, and we have a little store there that we have all of your bait needs, little concessions. We do our boat rentals out of there as well, and yeah, it's a great little campground.
No, that's fantastic. And that's just, you know, if you were to get to Show Low Lake, a lot of people know where that's at, but if you turn right there on, I think it's Cub Lake Road there at the hospital, and just follow around Show Low Lake Road, it'll take you right into Show Low Lake. What, is that park closed part of the season?
No, we're open year round.
Year round?
We are open year round, which is, you know, we don't get as much visitation in the winter. Sometimes people don't like camping in the snow. I think it's fun, but we are open year round. And what's really great about Show Low Lake is that it's really for those people that want to get that camping experience, but don't want to be quite away from town either.
Right.
We see a lot of families that come in, sometimes a lot of single parents that want to give their kids a chance to camp, but really don't know how to do it. And so this is a perfect opportunity for them to come and try it out, and it's a great little campground for that.
Oh, that's great. Now, I'm a little more familiar with you over at Fool's Hollow Lake. Now, I'm going to call it Fool's Hollow Lake because I'm you know, a native here. But
I was pretty much born and raised here, so
when
same
they
way.
put the name of it in, it's Full Hollow Lake. So you run a great business over there. You have your kayaks. Go ahead and share what you've got.
We have a little concession there. We run canoes, kayaks, paddle boards, which is very popular, and we have some fishing boats as well, and we also do pontoon tours over there.
Okay. Now, where are you located, and how would somebody, you know, get to the park? They're going to have to pay the day use fee to come in if they're going to.
Correct. Yeah, if you're not
access.
camping there, you do have to do a day use fee, which is $7 per vehicle. And we are actually on the east dock, which is over on the campground side. So we're just right there at the dock, and we have a launching station right there. So everything is done for you. You don't have to take the boat anywhere. It's all right there. And Fool's Hollow is a beautiful lake just to get on, to sightsee, see a bunch of birds, tons of fishing. Every type of fish you can think of is in that lake.
Right. And I think what people don't understand, that's actually a bird refuge area.
It is.
I've had a few people share with me that they've seen 50 different species of birds within about an hour and a half of bird watching and some of the things that happen there.
We have so many different types of birds. I don't know them very well, but it's kind of fun to watch all different kinds. Osprey are beautiful to watch, to go down diving after fish. We've seen a couple bald eagles over there as well. Just a beautiful area to do that at.
You know, what's fantastic, I've brought my grandkids and you've set us up real well, and we've had just a
That's
great
right.
time. So you come,
Your big group.
You come up there and you just put everybody in a kayak or in a canoe, and you fit them out with life jackets, and so it's one of those lakes that you can feel fairly safe on. Water, you always have to be careful about water, but a lot of people don't understand that that lake wraps around as far as it does, and you've got almost over a mile that you can paddle back upstream.
Right up to the creek, yeah, where the creek comes in, yeah. And people don't realize that. They think it's just that main area, and I don't know how many people I've set up, and I said, go the other way, and they come back, we didn't even know that was back there, it's gorgeous, and with the cliffs, and I go out there on my paddleboard early in the morning, and it's really calm, and it's just beautiful, and the most beautiful sunsets too there is just gorgeous.
Now your paddle boats, your canoes will hold how many people?
Canoes hold 3.
3 people, okay.
And our motorboats hold 4, and then we have double kayaks and single kayaks, and then we also, of course, like the paddle boards.
Okay. What are some of your rates? If somebody, were to take a family over there, what are they looking at spending, to be able to have a good time?
So they range from 20 an hour to 40 an hour. So 20 an hour is for the single kayaks, double kayaks, canoes, and paddle boards are 25 an hour. We do have family rates as well, and then the motorboat is 40 hours. We also do a lot of corporate events, and I work one-on-one with people on that, and we can do special rates. I just got done last month with Summit, who's done it with us for the last 5 years? Yeah, 5 years, and we had over 400 people with that one. I helped them out with their event, and so we have capability to do that, and I'm seeing an uptick on a lot of team building, a lot of corporations coming out bringing their team to do that. I'm going to be working with Timber Mesa Fire on their employee. So I'm seeing a lot, and that's the other thing, I have local discounts too. Local discounts. If you're a local, you can come prove to me that you're a local, you'll get a discount.
All right.
But it's just various things. Oh, and we have bike rentals too.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about your bike rentals.
Yeah,
That's a new feature
that's a
you've
new
added,
feature.
this year, right? Or was it last year?
Last year.
Last year.
Yeah, it was last year.
And what is it that you have as far as the bike side?
They are trek bikes. They're mountain bikes. They're not downhill bikes. You can't take them up to Sunrise and do it that way, but they're great trail bikes. Really nice. We worked with Cyclemania on that. They helped us with getting the bikes and stuff. They're kind of the experts on that, so they're helping me out. But we're excited because now the trails are open. The trails were kind of closed before, so now that
Now, are
they're
most
open.
of the trails right? Can they take the bikes out of the park area there?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. So they can take them and put them on their car or whatever and come up different trails that we got throughout our community.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. So anything else you want to share about, employees? I know you've added a few employees, so you have people that's grown from just you out there
Oh, yes.
24/7 to
20
a few different employees.
Yeah,
and
so when
things.
we started this 6 years ago with the Arizona State Parks, it was kind of a pilot program. And so it was a year-to-year contract. And we were both kind of trying to fill it out to see if it was actually going to work. And it was just me. We didn't have a dock. I was launching people off the side of the bank. I got buff real quick. And found real quickly how popular it was becoming. And so I added one employee at the end of that season. Every year we've grown and grown, and now we had to rebid the project, rebid it. We now have it for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we have a long term. So now we're going to be adding more and more every year. So now I believe I'm up to 10 employees. So I don't have to be there out every day, which is kind of a bummer. I like being out
Right.
there every day. So it's just exciting to see how much is happening out there. And
I think it's a great success story of here we have an avenue, we have a wonderful lake. You was on kind of a trial basis, and then as it's evolved, now you're employing 10 people
Yes.
and I think that's what entrepreneurship and the economics that we have of how just a lake can create that. And then we look at the people that come up and camp and how many people stay. I mean, that park is probably sold out almost the entire summer
Yeah,
as far as
during the week and
you've got to
everything.
have things to be there. It's one of those jewels that we have right here in our own community that I just encourage the local people to get out and to use it, because they don't realize what we have. It's really a great thing that you've offered.
I just talked to a gal that I've known for years. She grew up in Pine Top, and she came down last week, and she even told me, she goes, I've lived up here all my life and I have never been to this lake.
Yeah.
And she goes, I can't believe I have missed out on this lake for this long. And I hear it all the time for visitors that come up. We didn't even know this lake was here. It was, it's just a kind of our hidden gem, like you said. So it's kind of neat to see new people come out and try it out and just fall in love with it just as much.
I mean,
as
it's just a simple thing. I've taught my grandkids how to skip rocks, and that's, on the water. They go, well, what are you talking about? But unless you've grown up a little bit around water, it's just one of those little things that people from the city never have the experience. And you can spend hours out there them looking for the perfect rock to throw. And
I'll tell you
fun things.
It is fun things. And I'll tell you what's really cool is a lot of these kids, we're seeing less and less of the youth going outside and doing these type of things, the boating, the fishing. And it's something that I'm very passionate about, is getting our youth back in the outdoors in any type of aspect. And so it's really neat when we have kids going out on boats for the first time, and they're going out and they're scared to death. I mean, they're holding on, they're crying, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. By the time they come back, they have the biggest smile on their face, and they had so much fun, and they've had that opportunity they may have never gotten before. And so it's really cool to watch. And then, of course, my son, who's out there 24/7 fishing, he knows every part of that lake. It's kind of neat to watch him. He teaches kids how to fish. He's taught or had families come up, and the families don't know how to fish. So he'll take them out and help them catch their first fish and everything. It's really cool to watch. And it's just, we're blessed to be able to be out there to do that and see that. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate what you've offered. Just the safety factor. Years ago, I have a brother-in-law who was babysitting some young kids, and before the park was what it is, and he tells a story of always floating the log that was floating, put the kids on it that he was babysitting, and pushes them across the lake swimming. So the fact that we've emerged from there to a safe kayak or a paddle boat or a canoe to be able to do it. Well, Trisha, I appreciate you being here today. Appreciate what you've done to help improve our Shoalo Lake as well as the Full Hall Lake and making it a fun activity.
Well, thank you for having me.
As well as a business for you. So that's what it's about.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Stay tuned for the next segment of Inside City Hall. Welcome back to Inside City Hall. Now we have from the Shoalo Police Department, Commander McNeil and Officer Eberline. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor.
How are you?
Thank you.
You guys are happy to be here today, I can tell.
Oh, yeah.
And everything there. That time of year we've had a great summer. Things have gone great. And I just want to say thanks to what you guys do for our police force and the things that way you've handled some of the situations we've had through this summer. And it's always great to have great officers. And thank you so much for our entire police force, what you guys, put up with each day. Talk a little bit about going back to school. There's always, the changes that take place. Kids have moved up a grade. They're going to a different school. Maybe we've changed some things over there with traffic flow. Let's just kind of talk a little bit about getting to school, some of the traffic changes that we can kind of expect and what we need to be aware of coming down the schools.
I don't think there's too much to talk about as far as how we do things as we get back into school. We like to reinforce the school zone areas there on Central and the high school, and especially over here on McNeil, that they need to pay attention to the signs. Everybody thinks that they have to actually slow down to 15 like right before the crosswalks, but we've actually for the past several years have extended out quite a bit further to give that safety for all those kids that are walking to and from school. So I can speak to that part. It is 15 from sign to sign in our school zones. It's not just to the crosswalk. So we want to put out and remind everybody as you're coming back that we start to hit it hard pretty quick right away, making sure that we're driving safe in those zones for the safety of our kids. And Officer Eberline can talk about any changes or things that might be going on in the school.
Okay. And I think it's one of the things to note to it, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the fine sometimes doubled if you're fined in those 15-mile-an-hour school zones too?
It is up there, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact price, but I know it's
significantly more.
I'd say it's close to $375, $400 range, I want to say, for a school zone violation. And we do get that at times, when people get cited. It's like, well, I thought you could go 10 over, and it's like, no, not anywhere.
Basically zero tolerance
it's zero
in the
tolerance
school
in the school zone. So, 2 to 3 miles an hour, you can get stopped and get ticketed for it.
Need to remember that. And I think one of the biggest things too is just youthful drivers coming into the school. They need to realize there's congestion, and some of those areas are a little bit chancy, right where you're turning there by the administrative building. There's not really a stop sign, four-way stop sign. You just have to be patient through some of those sections there too. And I think the other thing that we always will incur is those little fender benders over the speed bump. Somebody thinks somebody's going to go, they're following too close, and we can get a little speed bump incident too.
Definitely.
So what else do you see as far as any changes or traffic flow patterns or dropping people off that we need to be aware of?
I think the biggest thing that I notice is just for parents to make sure that they're dropping their kids off at the appropriate locations. For example, there's a handicap drop-off and pickup location on Cougar Lane, just on the right as you're passing the junior high, and a lot of parents are using that as a drop-off place, and it really affects the traffic flow on Cougar Lane for parents that are going to drop their kids off at the high school. And then also over at the junior high's back parking lot and the high school's back parking lot is, or the junior high's front parking lot, excuse me, and the high school's back parking lot gets really congested, so people just need to be patient, plan a little extra time, leave a little early, especially since it's kind of a new schedule maybe compared to the summer to now that the school year is up and in full swing. So plan a little extra time so that they can make sure to be there on time and not speed, because we definitely will be enforcing the speed this year.
Okay. One of the things that prevalent throughout our country, and we hope we never have the situation, and that's an active shooter in our schools. I mean, we've had concerns, we've had issues where somebody's brought a gun onto the school premises or perhaps into a school building of some type, not knowing what type of gun it is. But what do we do as far as the training and some of the things that we go through to prepare our students and our parents for a possible active shooter case?
I think as far as the school is concerned, I mean, we practice on a regular basis lockdown drills so that the staff and the students all know what to expect if an emergency. It could be an active shooter, or it could be, anything as small as like a swarm of bees or something, And we practice these emergency situations so that they know how to respond, and that they don't panic or get overly stressed out in that real world situation, I guess, if you will.
How many text messages go out in a situation? I mean, what do you tell the kids? Should they text their parents? Should they be communicating? I mean, in the world of technology today, everybody's got a phone, everybody's got a camera. But what helps and what doesn't work as far as parents showing up?
Yeah, that's a good point. So the policy for all schools in our district is that there's no cell phone use, and the reason for that is because they clog up all of the cell towers, and then we as emergency responders, fire personnel and police aren't able to get out and able to communicate. And you think, oh, we'll just use your radio, but the radio gets so congested because everybody floods there when there's something going on. Every officer that you can think of, every three-letter agency that you can think of. And so it gets very, very busy and very congested on the radio, and if we're not able to use cell phones as well as the radio, then it inhibits us from being able to perform our job and to take care of the situation in a timely manner. If they want to communicate with the school or their child or try to figure out what's going on, we send out alerts as quick as possible. And then, so just make sure your phone number is updated with the school. And then the other thing is that they need to contact the school, call the school number if they have questions, concerns, if they're trying to get further information. And then we use a lot of avenues to try to get that information out as quick as possible.
I think one of the biggest things is to allow the police officers to do their job, allow the teachers that have been trained in a situation, whatever we can do to, stand back and wait, although it's a very difficult thing to do as a parent, but yet that's sometimes the safest, as possibly bringing another victim into the site that possibly could happen. You want to share anything along those lines?
Well, Mayor, you did. You hit it on the head, and Officer Eberline hit it on the head as well. Those types of situations, we've had a couple incidents where we've had to lock down the school, and those absolutely create problems of parents wanting to come down there. And we try to put it out when we teach these classes and talk to parents that we have the best interest of the kids at heart as well. We're all parents, past parents had kids in the school, so we all have that care for the children. And so we do the very best that we can, but Officer Eberline hit it on the head that, you know, you can clog the lines, and you coming down there is going to create more problems and take more of our manpower to try and hold people back while we do our job and get it the situation resolved as quickly as possible. That it takes us away from our partner. But we've been fortunate in our schools. We've been doing this for 10 plus years. You know, the Parkland shooting during the last school season created a lot of concerns here. We had a lot of parents calling, and we've been ahead of the game in our schools, and the schools have been a wonderful partner in allowing us to do this. At first, you know, it was a little tough to say, hey, we need to do these drills, but we do them 4 to 5 times a year minimum in the schools to make sure. And I can tell you, you know, a ton of success stories of where we've done drills. One I love to share is where we had kindergartners telling grandparents on Grandparents' Day when we did a drill, unbeknownst to us at the police department that it was Grandparents' Day, that we did a drill, you know, to see how they respond, and the kids were actually telling the grandparents, okay, we need to do this, we need to sit in the corner, we need to be quiet. So they get it. It's not a fun topic to talk about. It's not one we like to do, but as we've talked about this morning, you know, the more we do it when that event does happen, that, you know, our muscle memory kicks in and we know exactly what to do without panicking.
No, that's fantastic. You know, as training, I was surprised just when you came in and did some active shooter training here at the council, and some of the things that we picked up, some little tips, and a lot of us didn't know some of the trips that were available and some of the different things that were even, you know, for our protection out there. You know, I've sat by a door for 5 years and didn't realize I had an exit door to my left, you know. Though I have one behind me, but you didn't realize I have one there. So it's being aware of your surroundings and things that you always have. I think one of the things that's happening as the school is working with the bond that they passed recently is trying to make our schools safer as far as checking points, as far as entrance points, and that's going to go a long ways as they implement some of those things of making the whole school more safe. But it goes beyond the buildings. It's wherever you're at, being more aware of what can happen.
Absolutely. Your situational awareness is huge. And so that's what we pass along to. We've talked about these things, and they're saying, what are you doing as a police department? Well, it is a complete community cooperation that needs to take place. You know, we talk to the students, and the school resource officers can talk all the time about how they go find doors that are supposed to be locked, blocked open for their buddies and stuff like that. It's stuff like that inhibit it to be completely safe or more safe. And so we talk about those things, and since the Parkland shooting in Florida, we've talked more about if you see something, hear something, say something. And that's probably our biggest push that we're doing right now in the schools. You know, it doesn't hurt to say, hey, I heard somebody post this, or I saw this drawing or whatever. Give it to us, let us look into it and find out.
Right.
Because we hate that afterwards. It's like, I knew that person was like that way, or I knew this. It doesn't surprise me that this person did that. And it's always after the fact. So.
Right. Be proactive on
Correct.
all those type of things. One of the things that let's just kind of wrap up here. It's been summertime. We've maybe changed some of our habits. Maybe there's some things that we have on our cars, whether it be firearms or something, or maybe there's something on our bodies that we've carried around. What needs to change coming into school to be legal, especially like at the high school and the upper grades here? Well, any school, but why don't you touch a little bit on that?
Yeah, definitely. More often than not, we see it at the high school where they're used to having their guns in their gun rack, or their knives clipped on their pants, or things like that. And so they just need to remember that we're back to school time, and those things aren't allowed at the school. And I mean, if it's a gun or a BB gun or whatever it may be, we treat that very seriously. If it's a knife, you know, we're going to take it from you and confiscate it, and either you'll get it back at the end of the day, or we'll give it back to parents. And typically we give it back to parents, but it's a pain in the butt for them because they have to come in and get that from us. So we just don't want those things there, and it's not because we are concerned that individual is going to use it necessarily, but we just want to make sure that that's not even an option.
Okay. Anything else you guys want to talk about or share of getting ready, or what's going on at the police force?
Well, there's always something going on. You know, you talked about it earlier in your earlier segment. You know, it's just a beautiful time of year. I love the monsoons, and so glad we got rain. But as we start to move into the school season, you know, start setting your clocks early, parents. You know,
Right.
probably the biggest excuse we hear is like, oh, I'm running late. Okay, well, that's not an excuse. And the fines literally start at $240 for a speed fine. So I like to put it out there, just make sure you're set your time and get up early.
Right, appreciate that.
Just the only other thing I can think of is that oftentimes we see parents as well as students driving through the school zone while on their phones, texting and driving. And it makes me so nervous for them and for the kids that are walking across the crosswalk or other people that are stopping abruptly in front of them, that there's so many accidents that are caused by that, and heaven forbid I don't want one of our kids getting hit or anything to that effect. So please put your phones away, especially while in a school zone.
That's fantastic. Great advice. Great advice. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate your time. Appreciate you coming.
Yeah.
Pleasure, Mayor.
Thanks so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for joining us on Inside City Hall today. Hope that you have a great day.